Hey everybody, it is Sam at MissionMonday.com, and on the other side of the worldwide winter web, it is
Mark at missionmoney.com.
Hey Mark, good to see you, man.
Good to see you, Sam.
This week, you have got something hooked up with a mission that I think is maybe a global favorite. People tend to dig this. In fact,
Yeah.
I think frequently when people initiate Mission Monday, they grab this mission and say, "This is how I'm going to start stuff out." Mark, what do you want to do this week?
Sam, I want to do high fives this week. And we haven't done high fives in our building since the beginning of the year, right toward the beginning of the year. And so I'm going to do it for two reasons. Number one, it's because right after Christmas, I had asked our students to come up with ideas for missions, write them down, and put them in what I called the Mission Monday box, which was up at the office. And so high fives was in there fairly frequently, and I haven't done it since then. So to honor the students, I'm going to do that. And then last week, I was in a chat on Twitter, which I like to frequent every once in a while, and it was about technology tools. And one of the questions was, what is your favorite technology tool that engages students? Well, I went off the beaten path a little bit and responded with my favorite tool to engage students is my hand. Because once I put my hand up in the air in the hallway, I've got 100 students engaged in high fives.
And what I dig about that is so often when people start to talk about technology, they instantly jump to computers. They instantly jump to software or programs. And I don't know why everything digital got to say it was technology and everything before that is no longer technology. And I don't know that high-fiving is technology, but I totally am on board that your most powerful engagement tool is your hand. Totally get with that on the high fives. Another reason why I like this, Mark and I were talking just a little bit before we started recording. I think this will be third time that I've run the high five mission in my district this year, and I don't think that's too much. There's missions when we first started kicking this off that I would do once a month just because I thought they were that powerful and it's what our school needed. One of the reasons I really like the high fives is that one of the things Mark and I like to talk about is there's these 4 T's and how humans bond, those being touch, smile, time, spending unconventional time, and beyond the classroom, and 2 eyes, meaning eye contact. And anytime you give a student a high five, you're probably hitting all 4 of those. You're engaging in physical contact, you're giving eye contact, you're spending some time outside the conventional classroom, and I'm betting you have a smile on your face. We've written about those before, and if you follow us, you've probably read those articles, and if you've seen us speak, we spend no small amount of time talking about how awesome we think those are. I think high fives are probably, top 3 ways to hit all 4 of those T's in an interaction that is going to be minuscule. And when you do it and you make that connection, and by the way, this one again, students, staff, parents, volunteers, find any of you, find an excuse to give any of those other 3 a high five, you will feel that spark. You make that contact, that pow with that high five, and it's like, yeah, we've got that connection, and it's celebratory, and it validates good stuff, and it's encouragement. It seems nominal, but it's crazy how cool high fives are. And here's the other thing I like about it too. We always talk about these missions being intentional. Maybe run an experiment this week. Pick a day and don't give anybody high fives. Say, I'm just going to go through my day normally and see how many you get. And then pick a day and say, this is the day I'm going to hit the mission. It is, when you do that, count how many positive interactions that you have made occur that wouldn't have occurred if you would have just been walking around. Maybe that's silly, but I think that's a cool way to quantify it. That's just me.
And one more thing, if people are just jumping on board with Mission Monday and they're looking for ideas for the school, I think the high five mission is one of the easiest missions that somebody could just jump in on, do for one of their first missions, and engage staff and students and volunteers and parents immediately in the task.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned all those stakeholders, because if a kid clears off the table, that's worth a high five at home. If they remember to clean up their room, that's a high five at home. If whoever turns in their homework in on time, that's a high five. Students are walking down the hallway and following behavior expectations, that's a high five. You sat down with your teaching partner on Monday during your plan period, you got the whole week planned out, that's a high five. Your principal managed to show up and do the evaluation when it was scheduled instead of postponing. If you give that cat a high five, the reasons abound. So, yeah, I'm with you, my brother Mark. It's going to be good
Right
stuff.
on. Sounds good, Sam.
Hey, one other thing, because we haven't mentioned it in a while, if you go to missionmonday.com, there's a link pretty high on the page because Mark's going to be in Atlanta, and I'm going to be in Atlanta, and Mark's going to be in Vegas, and I'm going to be in Vegas, not just on vacation, but because we're presenting a national conference on school discipline through developmental resources. Check that out and get that registered. We're doing a pre-conference, and I think the pre-conference is only like $3.50 to register for. Not quite that cheap, but it is a good value. So go check that out, and when you see us in Atlanta or Vegas this summer, bring a high five along.